nice individual stopped by the farm here the other night while nobody was around, and they decided they would take little pins out of the hay rake and the tractor, the 7530. So on the other side, you see how that is like dipped down and not in the position like this one is? Well, this pin here got removed from the other side there. Timothy has one here. Oh, where did you get this one from? Yeah, but the other rake, we already had one, right? So where did this come from? Okay, so what's in the other one? Oh. That bolt. Okay. You stuffed that bolt in there. Okay, so what they did, they didn't steal the one from there, they stole the one from the arm, and as we were going across the field, it fell out. Now, I've owned these rakes now for several years. I think I bought the first one in 2014, I think, 2014, something like that. 2014 I bought, as a matter of fact, this one and the other one. I had bought two of that year, and I've never lost any of those pins, ever. Never did. But I thought there's a first time for everything, right? Well, a little later, or that afternoon, Timothy comes along and he's got a pin for the front of the 7530, which is a lynch pin that cannot come undone unless somebody gets their grubby little hands on it. Well, this rake was hooked to that tractor, or that rake was hooked to that tractor. It wasn't this rake. This is one you robbed it from, right? Yeah. Okay, so this is a rake this is a donor rake because we had broken one of these ends here, which I'm going to repair that one too before we get too far into this. But anyhow, we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that. But, you can hear again? Yeah, that works. That works. It'll pull that moisture out of there. So anyways, Tim went swimming. He's got swimmers here. Anyways, with that torch burning like that, this is what it did when the wing fell off, or the arm fell off. It broke this eyelet here. The Acme thread piece is busted. So what I have to do is actually just torch this out and put a new, or I'm just going to move it. I'm not even going to put a new anything there. I'm going to take the the original one that was busted off, and it does have a slight angle to it. There's a lot of thread on here that is not used. If you look at this, it only is in this nut, so I'll have that much room within there to, I got plenty of room. I'm fine. I don't have to add Acme thread, even though I do have another piece up there. Problem with these rakes is some people, they adjust them, and I was a victim of this too. Instead of adjusting the holes, we would screw these out and then move it a hole and then screw it out some more, move it a hole the other way. I don't know. It just, anyways, if it got extended out about this far, this Acme thread isn't very strong, and we were breaking them all the time until I realized, hey, dumbass, we need to do this. Keep it close and we won't have those problems. So anyway, I'm going to set you down here and you can watch me torch this out. Right, Tim? Other than my stupid sunglasses. Somebody said I need a plasma cutter. I wouldn't mind a plasma cutter. That was, they're just another piece of equipment. I think if I was going to buy a plasma cutter, it'd be a Hypotherm. That's all that you do with plasma cutters. There's that. And what I'm going to do is throw it on the ground because I didn't want to hold it anymore. Make sure you shut those off. Huh?
Once you put back?
Yeah. Alright, so this thing is hot as hell now. I do have a bucket of water here. So what I'm going to do is douse it in the water because because I can. And no, it is not going to change the property of the metal because it was not glowing red hot. It was just, warm. Warmer than I wanted to have it and touch it. So let me see if I don't have my tripod in here. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. So, what I'm going to do now, is because the thing is probably still a bit warm. Ooh. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to smack it with a hammer in a second. And I'll weld it. Your ear feel better?
Yeah, it does. I can still barely hear now.
Well, you're going to have to do it again in a few minutes because it's going to evaporate out of there, taking that water with it. I mean, the only other thing you can do is starting fluid, but I don't think you want to do that.
My ear's on fire.
Well, I wouldn't light it. As good as it needs to be, let's put it that way. So, now we've got that, right? Looks good to me. So we'll just gently clamp that. Tim, could you give me the... Never mind, you grab the camera.
Okay. On this side.
Huh?
I'll stand on this side.
That's fine. I'll use the old helmet, I guess. And it doesn't take much. Oh, the hell's my hand? There it is. God darn it.
Separate wire.
Yeah. What the hell? I'm wondering what in the hell I got going on. Oh, my do-rag. Why do I have a do-rag? Because I'm welding. So let's see if we can set these rags on fire. We're pretty good at that. Right, Tim?
Yes.
So I'm only doing a little bit of welding, so I think that I don't really have to worry too much about my arms, but whatever. Oops. What the hell's going on with that? That rod is roached. That needs to go back over to my...
120?
Put that back where it was. Got some oil in there. There's actually chrome on that. Actually, threaded rod. Woohoo! I can feel that electric coursing through my body. Believe that?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel too good, actually. Actually, that's galvanized, not chrome, but galvanized. You can tell by the white or yellowish looking strip that's on there. Man, this is hotter than I thought it was. Okay, that's it. Now, just shut that off. Take this off. Put that back, and we can call this fixed. Pretty much fixed. We'll have to stick my hot fingers on there. It's warm. Now, let's find some oil.
Yeah, it should be in that orange drum.
Now we got a torch.
It's on fire.
Huh?
It's on fire.
It is on fire. So the reason we use oil when it's glowing red is actually to temper it or to cool it off. Oil doesn't cool as fast as water. It doesn't evaporate as fast as what, say, water does. Water will make it brittle because it cools so fast that it crystallizes instead of just cooling gently. I'm sure there are some technical terms that I'm not using, but if you've ever watched Forged in Fire, anytime somebody takes it and throws that thing in a bucket of water, the guys cringe. They're like, oh, that's done. Whether it holds up or not, it's done. got that pin, and I need this rag. And I'm gonna thread it into the end of that thing. Ooh, that's hot.
Make sure you bang it out because I know there's a little stones in them.
Huh? No, I did. There was little stones in them, wasn't there? Okay. So if you were to just thread this out like this, and then find a hole that matches, you would have a problem because it would be weak, and we don't want it weak. We want it to be kind of strong. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're doing fine adjustments with your rake, your H&S rake, and it has these things on it, you really want to keep it within 3 to 4 inches of the swivel eye. That will keep it strong enough. There's not enough flex there to actually break it off, because even though this is a 5/8 inch Acme thread, at the bottom of the thread it's only, say, 7/16 of an inch. It's really, really thin there. So I think we're pretty close now. Looks pretty close to me. Alright, so raise that up and we'll put it in the second hole.
What do you mean wimpy? Second hole.
Alright, go ahead and drop it down. Oh, wait a minute, something's wrong here. How the hell won't that fit? Okay, bring her down. Down, 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 down. And that's correct, right? Okay. So that's about where it should be. It'll cool off, and then any fine adjustments that we need to make will be made in the field. Now, these things have cables on them to keep them from getting lost. Really, there's a lot of pressure on this thing. It would have taken somebody to, especially back here, somebody pulled that thing out. They walked over, you can see it's in the back on that one. They walked over, they grabbed a hold of it, and they pulled it out. Which, to me, is just shitty. I mean, people are shitty. And if it wasn't for the front of that 7530 having that missing pin also, I would have just said, must have just fell out. Fluke thing, you know, in the last 4 or 5 years that I've run this.